Hey guys, all we're going to do today is just draw and label a picture of a wave. So take a moment and copy what you see here on the screen. A straight line down, that's going to be our start point, and then a line straight across right in the middle, that's going to be our equilibrium point or our zero line. And then draw your wave in and make it as even as you can. It doesn't have to be perfect at this point since you're just using it for a reference for later on, but I do want you to try and get used to making it as even and neat as possible. So if you need to pause the video while you do that, go ahead and let's get started. One of the first things that you wrote about in your notes underneath wave characteristics was amplitude. Amplitude is the farthest a wave gets away from its equilibrium, or the farthest an oscillating object gets away from its equilibrium. In your notes there was an example of pendulum swinging, and here's another example. So our amplitude is just going to be from the equilibrium point to as far away as it gets. So just from that middle to the farthest away point. Another way that you can remember where the amplitude is if you look at this crest here, the letter A fits really nicely underneath. So you can just draw in a good solid A for amplitude, and that tells you what that is. The next thing that I'm going to have you guys label are the crests and troughs. Those are the easy one. So a crest is the top point or the topmost point, and it's going to be here and here. Those are crests. Label those also. I'm going to do it with my lovely finger writing. Crest here and here. And a trough is that bottommost point here. The valley is another way to say it, the trough or the valley. So label those. Trough, that's how you say that word. Trough there and there. And the next thing that I want you guys to label is one full wavelength. Now this is something that gets a lot of people confused because there's a couple different ways that you can find or measure the wavelength of a wave. Now one of the easiest ways is from crest to the next crest, or a trough to the next trough. So just a straight line from crest to crest, or a straight line, draw through my words here, from trough to trough. And that's a wavelength. When we start with a point that's on the equilibrium line, that's where people get confused. So let's say that we're going to start measuring right here at the very, very beginning. And I want to know how long is my wavelength. Well, what I'm going to have to do is trace my wave. It goes up, and then here it's crossing that equilibrium line again, but it's not the same position because over here I was starting up. Over here now I'm headed down. So I haven't completed my cycle or my oscillation yet. So I'm going to keep following that line down and then back up again, and now I've hit that equilibrium line again, and now I'm on the upward slope again. So that from the start all the way over to there is one wavelength. Now it's important to remember that the wavelength does not include this whole tracing of the wave up and down. We just did that to make sure that we were in the right position. The wavelength itself is only measured from the starting point in a straight line until we hit that exact same repeated point again. So this straight line is our wavelength, not this up and down tracing. And in your notes it tells you, I'm not going to write out the word wavelength on here, you can. In your notes it tells you the symbol for wavelength is this little guy here. It's called a lambda. It's a Greek letter. So it looks kind of like an upside down Y. So that's a wavelength. So just make sure that you're counting the entire cycle or the entire oscillation. We have to go up and then all the way down and then back up to where we started to get the entire thing. Make sure that you have all of these things labeled on your paper. Make sure you have all of the notes with the vocabulary taken from yesterday, and give the quiz a try. See how well you understand. The point of the quizzes at this point is really just to make sure that you are getting the basics and you're getting the general idea. Let me know if you have questions. Bye.